But this time it
Yeah.
was so fresh. Like, you know, a lot of times it's suggested to, if you can't come up with an idea, look at news headlines. And as soon as my teacher said that,
Hey, what's going on, Taylor? Thanks for coming on and hanging out.
yeah, no problem. It's really nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, well, you actually reached out to me first, so you pretty much followed me on Instagram first. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's really cool being a part of the horror film community on Instagram. Cause you know, like for my personal Instagram, like I don't do much on it. Uh and
Yeah,
I've always felt like, yeah, whatever. Like Instagram, I think a lot of people feel like Instagram is dead. I think a lot of younger people. Um but uh but then when I started getting active for a purpose, like with the baby,
yeah,
it's a really cool supportive community. There's a lot of people still really active on it and like supporting each other. So I find that to be really cool. And then so with the baby, the short film I made, we have a page on Instagram, and then I started following horror podcasts that we met in Salem. We just did a Salem horror festival in earlier this month. And then from
yeah.
there, I love how Instagram does this. They'll throw you suggestions of more horror podcasts, and that's how I came across yours. I was like, "Oh, hell
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
hell yeah,
Yeah,
yeah."
yeah. I I always follow back people that follow me as just like as a thank you type of thing. But like, yeah, Instagram is actually good for bringing for putting out stuff like this to get people across, you know,
Yeah,
to get connected. But I feel like it's like TikTok as well,
yeah,
because obviously everybody's on TikTok now. Oh,
and
I'm not really on TikTok, but like, um, I get told that, you know, maybe you should post up some of your stuff on TikTok and get, you know, more views and get people to watch your stuff.
I guess that's fair because TikTok is definitely more talky. Oh, my cat's going crazy. Is like definitely the more talking medium. They reward a lot of like up close talking stuff. So could be worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah, true. But then now it's either Instagram Reels, TikTok Shorts, or YouTube Shorts these
Yeah,
days now.
yeah,
You know, once
it's true.
somebody sees like, yeah, well, once when somebody sees your 30-second clip of whatever it is, they want to click on the link below and, you know, check out the stuff what you do, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it is cool. TikTok's a
Mm.
different ballgame, though. I feel like it's a whole different community there, and I tend to be more of a lurker still on TikTok. A
Yeah,
daily lurker.
I just go on there just to watch like funny dog videos
Yeah, for real.
and shit. Yeah, yeah. So, tell us a bit about your short film, The Baby. I know it only goes for like 15, 20 minutes or so, but like in that short time frame, there's like a lot of going on, which is pretty cool. So, how did that come
Well,
about?
well, cool. So how did it come out is I went to school at UC Berkeley. I don't know, are you familiar with UC Berkeley down there, down under?
No, not really. No, isn't it
It's really
like a high college or something like that? Like a
it's one
popular.
of the more well-known ones of California. So I'll put it there. Most
Okay.
people know UCLA or like
Yeah.
USC, I'm trying to think, or NYU when it comes to film. But anyway, so I went to this school called UC Berkeley, and I went actually as an elder millennial. I went back in the day in like 2008, but I dropped out. And then I spent
Yeah.
15 years doing other stuff, kind of getting my life together, figuring out what the fuck I wanted to do. And then
Yeah.
um I finally went back and finished. So I was majoring in film. I decided, yeah, I actually like film. I think I'm going to move forward with it. Plus, in those 15 years, by the way, like the film industry has radically shifted. Because like when I first
Yeah.
went to school for film, like I took a class that was studying the new phenomenon called YouTube, and I think that's
Okay.
really funny.
Yeah.
And so like
Yeah.
fast forward 15 years, like one of the things is I never really wanted to work in the industry. I was never like a break into the industry kind of person. I always just liked telling stories and wasn't entirely
Yeah.
sure which medium to use. So, okay, fast forward to present day, I was like, yeah, film seems a lot more accessible now. It doesn't seem like it's only limited to the Hollywood industry. Like you can do so much with it. So I was very confident returning to school and finishing up that degree. And in my senior project production class, we had to come up with a short film and write a short script and shoot it, within that last semester, which is about 4 months. So that's what I did. Usually when I'm writing a script, I have such a hard time coming up with a concept. But this time it
Yeah.
was so fresh. Like, a lot of times it's suggested to, if you can't come up with an idea, look at news headlines. And as soon as my teacher said that, I was like, oh my God, I spent all of COVID, like totally diving deep into true crime, like many people. And there's this one story that I like to say lives in my head rent free that I could not like get out of my head. And so I'm like, I'm going to write a story loosely based on that. So that's how the baby
Yeah.
came to fruition. This is going to be a spoilers podcast. Is that correct? Are we going to like dive deep?
Yeah. Oh, we
Okay.
can do spoilers if you want, because people can stream it now. Yeah.
No, they're not going to be able to stream it until after a festival run is over.
Okay.
Only because if we put it online, it disqualifies us from most festivals. So we have to wait, unfortunately, which will probably be about
Okay.
another year. Yeah.
That's all right. To build it up a bit, get the hype going for it. I guess.
Yeah, but I don't want to say what the true crime case is in case we're not doing spoilers. Because if I say it, it'll kind of give it away. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll leave it at that until a year later, until people can like check it out, and they can go back to this podcast and be like, yeah, this. Yeah. That's awesome. But how did you get the actors in? How did you get all the cast for that?
Yeah.
Was it someone that you know?
No, it wasn't. So originally I was actually going to use a fellow film student. We were going to both act in each other's projects. But she ended up going away to Africa, like randomly in the middle of the semester, and it didn't work with the timing of what I needed for production. So I was like, I'm just gonna look on backstage.com. I don't know if you know that website. Yeah. And then so I put out an ad and just by happenstance found two of the most amazing actors. I feel really fortunate because it was almost like as soon as I saw both of them, like me and my producer and my AD, we all just like, we knew. We were like, we need to get these people. So very low budget, like we paid them a set rate. And then the child actor, he was awesome. His dad and him agreed to do it for free. I gave him some like, Amazon gift cards and stuff, but they all came from backstage.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I was very lucky to watch it because you sent me the private link to it, and it's a very psychological, like thriller horror type. Even though that kid was like a little shit, but like
it's true.
But like the ending, but like with the ending and how it ends, it kind of has you thinking of what's going to happen. I think we talked about this before on Instagram DMs, but what's going to happen? Will it be a sequel, or you know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I like movies like that.
Me too. Like that ambiguous ending that doesn't fully answer everything, and you have to come up with your idea of what happened. Sometimes it's really frustrating, but I also I really prefer it here. I could actually tell you how that was all an accident. Ending it that way. Yeah, it was all a happy accident because so first off, the parameters in which we were supposed to make this film was it was supposed to be like a zero budget. Okay. We were only supposed to spend money. This was like the homework of the class. We were only supposed to spend money on craft services, so food, to feed the crew. I did step out of that a little bit because I ended up hiring actors and then the location, but like all the crew came on, donated their time generously to the set. So that was great. But I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So I had the extra challenge of like, how do I make this like horror thriller film that I want to make on a zero budget, and but still make it like a horror thriller. So it was really an exercise in like not having gore
Yeah.
because I didn't have the money for
Yeah.
special effects. And so I had to make it like super suggestive and try to plant in your mind what is happening and what's going to happen. And I hope that I did. So like at the end, I feel like at the end of the film, you should know what the protagonist is doing, or the anti-hero, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of keeps you guessing though. That's what had me guessing, and that's why after I finished watching the film, I messaged you saying like, "Is there going to be a sequel?" Or I reckon she kidnaps the boy and probably like gets rid of the mum or whatever it is. But it kind of just leaves it open to what's going to happen next, and that's what I love about
Yeah.
what you did.
Yeah, and then and originally I had a really hard time ending the script because we kept
Oh, really?
we kept reworking it in class. The main
Yeah.
feedback that I kept getting after the rest of the script was finished was people were like, something doesn't feel right. I don't know about this ending. So I had like an ending, kind of almost like a Michael Myers, speaking of Halloween, like a Michael Myers style, with like her having the knife or the scalpel in her hand, at the door, and it ending like that.
Yeah.
With maybe the other character opening the door. I'd actually filmed, so with the fridge, it ends in a kitchen. And I had filmed the pregnant lady with the milk, like actually being scared by Casey entering and like dropping the milk. And then I had filmed the milk like spilling on the floor. And I was thinking of adding sound effects, of like a knife and like screaming and maybe blood. But those were all iterations of the ending of the script. And people kept giving me the feedback when we workshop it, like, I don't know, this doesn't feel complete. And just so happened that an old time buddy, I'm from Los Angeles, and an old time LA friend had moved up to the Bay Area. So it's where
Yeah.
Berkeley is, up in the Bay Area. So it's about 6 hours away. He ended up living there when I was going to school there. And he works in the industry as an editor. And I'm like, hey, I'm having a rough time figuring out what to cut. Will you take a pass at editing this for me? And he did. And when he edited it, he cut out so much that I didn't know was unnecessary. But he's the one that actually ended it there. And as soon as he did that, I was like, you just gave me my ending.
Yeah.
And it's so much stronger than everything else I had been working with. Because it keeps it on that energy of fuck, what happens? Like, I want to know. And that's the main feedback I get after somebody's watched it, is like, what happens? I'm like, what do you think happens? So you were saying,
exactly.
like, what do you think happens? You said like you think she offs
she
Rebecca?
kills the mom, and then takes the baby and does some weird rituals with it.
I love that. That's amazing.
I've watched so many horror movies, man. It's just crazy.
Well, I would hope you have, given that you have a horror podcast.
Yeah. But like, it's funny. Have you seen the first Friday the 13th movie?
God, yes, it's been so long. It's been like since I was a teenager.
So I had Ari on here, and
Who's
that dude's
Ari?
quite a character. The original
Ari?
Jason, Ari Lehman.
Oh, for real?
The kid from the lake.
Okay, yeah.
The OG. He told me that ending. I like to say he's the OG because he was the first one that played the actual character Jason. I had
Ari
him on,
Lehman.
and he was telling me that's the guy. He told me that the ending to that movie where he jumps out of the water, that wasn't meant to happen.
Oh, for real?
So the scene where the the girls in the boat, and the camera was like zooming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the ending, and I can't remember who was the film production thing. Is it Paramount Pictures or something at the time when they had that movie?
Yeah, I don't remember, but sounds right.
Yeah, they said that we're not going to release the movie without a proper ending. So
Okay.
so apparently Ari brought weed to the set. He was only six. He was only 16 at the time, and I think it was him, is it Tom Savini, the makeup effects, because he's the one that did the
Okay.
makeup effects for the movie, and a director. I think they're all smoking weed, and they're all talking about how the ending should be right. And then they were saying, "Is oh, what if you jump out of the water and scare her, and that'll be the ending of the movie?" And and then he's like, "Yeah, sure." So he was in the water, and before he went underneath the water, he was saying, "Oh, when did you want me to start? Because I'm underwater and I can't hear anything, like action and stuff." And they're just like, "Oh, just when you see bubbles come up, pop up." I'm like, "Okay." And it happened, and the chick that was on the boat wasn't ready, and she was actually scared for her life when that
Oh my
happened.
gosh.
So her reaction in that part of the movie when Jason got out of the water and drags her in, that was her real reaction. Like, she was
It's
terrified.
genuine.
Yeah.
Wow. I love those happy accidents. That is so
Yeah.
awesome.
The ac- the accident that was meant to be. But like
Yes.
stuff like hearing stuff like that when you don't really know like the actual story, like how the ending happened, was pretty cool.
We kind of have. I mean, it wasn't an accident, but we kind of have something
Mm,
similar, where we had to adjust at least. So the script, Timmy, right? He's an 8-year-old kid. The script was originally written for a 3-year-old or 4-year-old. It's like a younger
yeah.
kid. And so the feedback I kept getting from my instructors and fellow filmmakers was it's really hard to get a kid that age. And it's
Mm,
hard to get them to pay attention and to get them to act and to be on set. So it's like, are you sure you want somebody that young? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And so when I found his name is Alan, the little kid, when I found Alan, he was awesome. And I immediately was like, okay, yes, I want him, and I'll change some of the script. So we had to change some stuff on the fly. But when he knocks, I'm assuming this is why you called him a little shit, right? He knocks the bottle out of his mom's hand. Yeah.
yeah.
So that initially was written in the script as a spill. It's supposed to be this like
Ah,
4-year-old kid asking mommy for a drink. And like he goes to grab it and she opened it up and it spills red all over her like private area. And so she's actually
yeah.
wearing white sweat or like light colored sweats on purpose because it was supposed to be this like symbolic kind of spill of red. And I almost feel like now that's a little too on the nose, but that was what the plan was. And so we were trying to shoot
Yeah.
it, or we were shooting it, and we had multiple pair of sweatpants so we could like do the spill. Um, and then we ended up just spilling it all over one pair of sweatpants and then like recorded reactions that way. But the spill wasn't believable because it was like this
Yeah.
kid, he's old enough to kind of handle himself better than that. And then so on set, I started thinking like, well, okay, how is this 8-year-old kid gonna behave? If there's this kind of scary, mean lady, like that's talking to his mom that just like yanked him, the day before and like scolded him for just playing. Um, a kid's gonna act out, especially a young boy. He's gonna be high energy. So I pulled him aside and I'm like, hey, Alan, what do you think about instead of spilling the drink, you just knock it out of her hand? Just knock it out. And his eyes got so big and he was so excited. He's like, yes. And I was like, okay. And we did like 6 takes of it. And he had such a blast. And I was like, harder, harder, do it harder. So that was a little happy accident, at least like on the fly shift that we made. And I think it worked out way better because it was a little more, it was a little boring to just see like a spill and like the red juice or
Yeah.
whatever.
Gotta
Now it was
make it
like
more
most people,
dramatic.
yeah. And like most people in the audience are like, you get people who laugh, you people who gasp at that moment. And if it was just a little spill, I mean, that would have been boring. So yeah.
Mm. And
But
it
that,
worked out well. And when he goes
yeah,
home, he does that in real life to his parents.
I know. I'm like, sorry, you guys. Sorry, parents, for
Yeah, you
teaching
get
him that.
messages. What'd you do to my kid?
Totally. Oh, he was so excited to do it. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
as hard as you can.
So, so like, if you reckon if you had like a bigger budget for this short film, you reckon you would have done like maybe a 45-minute feature film, maybe an
Oh,
hour,
that's a good
if you had
question.
a bigger budget? So I kind of feel like there was more you can. I know because you said you had like a minimum budget to do the film and stuff like that. So, but I kind of feel like that there can be like there's so much more in that movie, you know. But like I
Yeah,
feel
there
like you
is.
put it all in even that 15-20 minute time frame, which is pretty cool, impressive too.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, so there's like a whole backstory that the lead actress, Sarah Naaman is her name. Like I met up with her before we started filming just to do character work and get on the same page as to who we think Casey is. And so together we sort of came up with a backstory. It's pretty loose, I don't want to give away too much, but we do know that something traumatic has happened to her and that she's a bit in like a delusional state is what we came
Yeah,
up with together. And then so
yeah,
every time we kind of see her, when you see her like taking her drink, you know, like you're doing now, but with wine, she has these moments where she's like reality is starting to slip back in,
yeah.
like of what's happened to her, whatever it is that's happened to her has happened to her. And then she controls that by going nope and like voluntarily puts herself back in delusion. So, with all of that said, yes, there's like a bigger story that we can definitely emphasize. I've thought about it. Then I found out through the guy who made my trailer, actually, he gave me some examples like before I hired him. He's like, here's some examples of films that are like yours, just for reference. And he did one for a Hulu film called Delivered. And it's a very similar
Yeah.
premise. Yeah, and, so that kind of knocked the wind out of my sails for wanting to make this a feature. I was like, "Oh, man." But then I watched Delivered and it wasn't that great, and it went on a totally different direction than what The Baby is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but instead, I actually have a better idea now, I think, for this being the
Yeah.
prequel. This is the origin story of the baby who grows up later to become a serial killer. That's my new plan.
Oh, so yeah, I can probably see that.
Yeah.
He's like it's like the stepbrother of Michael Myers.
There you go. Right? Because
You
I
know,
feel like, okay, one, when do we ever have female serial killers? Like I think of
American Psycho
Dexter.
2 had it. Yeah.
Oh, I never saw that one.
Me either, because it was trash from what I've read. But like, yeah,
But it's a
there was a
female?
female. Yeah.
Huh. Huh.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
you're right. There's not enough like there's probably like a small handful of female horror villains out there.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
it's
they
more of a
exist.
male dominant thing. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do, but it's always like run by a male leader.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I don't know. It'd be quite interesting though.
Like one of my favorite shows is Dexter, right? And
Yeah.
then I wouldn't necessarily call you one of my favorite shows. It's interesting enough that it's kept my attention, all 4 or 5 seasons, however many seasons there have been now. But they have parallels. I don't know if you've seen both of them, but right, they're both like serial killers who are, sociopaths who are awkward in real life and like,
Yeah.
like talk to themselves and uh I want that, but a female version. And they both had
That'd be
traumatic
cool though.
stories. So,
Yeah.
like, oh, and here's Anne. So this is, well, I guess her name's not Anne. She's
The,
just the baby mascot. I take
yeah.
her to all the film festivals that we get
Yeah,
into,
the baby
and
on tour.
yeah, that's her. So
Yeah.
just figure her grown up after the tragedy that Casey brought onto her life. And then the one thing I can't figure out though is who is she targeting? Who is she killing? You know? That's what I need to know. Like Joe Goldberg in You has a specific target, right? It's people, women that he feels he attaches onto and falls in love with, feels like he can fix them with murder. And then Dexter, his dad taught him the code. So he has a code specifically. So like, who is the baby killing? That's what I can't figure out. Yeah.
That's a brain thinker right there. If you think about it.
If anybody has ideas.
Yeah.
Pass them
Shoot her
on.
a message. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Totally.
So
Takes a community.
you were you were at a film festival, obviously, the Chicago Film Fest, correct?
Yeah.
How was that experience like? And have you done those before?
Oh, that was so this is our third one. We did one called Scream Fest, the smaller sister festival to the Los Angeles one. So ours was in New Orleans. We did that one in October. Then we did Salem Horror Fest earlier this month, and then Chicago Horror Fest just this past weekend. So it's 3 total for the baby. And Chicago was the biggest one and the best attended. Because the seats were packed basically every night. They had 3 days, 3 nights. And yeah, it was just great. And so many filmmakers and horror fans were there. So we met a lot of people. So it was great. And then we won 2 awards.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats. Well, those are pretty cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, because I think
right?
I saw like a post about that or something like that on Instagram.
Yeah, these are really cool trophies. And we kind of had a feeling, so this one is for Sarah Naaman, our actress. I know it's backwards, but it's Best Actress. Kind of had a feeling that she was gonna, because she's just phenomenal. I mean, I think she's phenomenal. As a crazy bitch, she does really good at that. And then, then we also won Best Horror Short, and I was not expecting it. So both me and my producer, we were absolutely floored and just totally grateful to take home the 2 awards, which is nice because we've been rejected from we just got a rejection today. I mean, we've got like 35 rejections under our belt. So it is nice to have some recognition when you get so many rejections in this industry,
Yeah, but that also leaves you other opportunities and other ones as well.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean by that?
Like other film festivals, like you get to show your stuff, show the people what you can do and stuff like that, which is cool. Yeah.
And horror film festivals are really fun. That sense of community I was talking about on Instagram, it's there in horror film festivals. There's just something about the genre that's like it's a deep sense of community.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a huge fan base that you need to just have to look for. Really, it's like it's dug underground. It's sort of like I'm a metalhead. I love metal music and hard rock as well. So that's why I did this podcast as a sort of a music / horror movies podcast, because I kind of feel like the metal and horror genre fits in so well. Because every time you watch a kill count video, it's always just some blasting death metal in the background.
Yep, always. Well, I mean, there's a reason why Rob Zombie, moved to the genre as well.
Yeah. I love his films, man. He gets a lot of shit for what he does. Especially A House of a Thousand Corpses. I remember when that first came out, a lot of people gave it shit, but then 20 years later, it's this iconic horror film.
Yeah, that movie I saw in the theater, and I remember it was probably so Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, was the first film, when I watched it when I was 15 or something, that made me sick to my stomach. Just all the torture, it was the first time I had ever seen that.
Was that the movie that got you into horror? Because that was going to be my next question.
Oh, that's a good question. I'll think on that while well, I reminisce on Rob Zombie because it might
Yeah.
actually be. But so House of a Thousand Corpses was then the next film that I saw, which would have been shortly after. Because what did that come out in, like 2001, 2002?
Something like that. Yeah, around the 2000s.
Yeah, so I was still a teenager, and that one also made me feel sick to my stomach. So I love when movies make you feel something. It could be
Yes.
uncomfortable. It could be emotional, it could be comedy, like laughter, but then like that sick to your stomach feeling. Like Hostel also did it in that like Achilles cut scene, or was it
Yeah,
Hostel 2? I can't remember, but there was like a couple moments in Hostel where I had it. But I love that feeling. 'Cause that's where I'm like, oh, I'm so
2000,
uncomfortable. I'm sick to my stomach.
2003 that movie came out, A House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah. I would have been about 18, just to give away my age to everybody.
2003, so I'm 39.
So you'd have been like 16, 17?
Yeah, because we're
Yeah.
we're about like a couple of years apart from each other, so
Yeah.
yeah, it shows you how
Elder
old we are.
millennials.
Yeah, hell
I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
Um, but so hold on, let me think. What got me into horror? Hmm. So with film, so back to like me going to school and stuff and trying to figure out what I wanted to do or what I care about in life. I've always
yeah,
been a storyteller. And so I used to write a lot. So ever since I can remember, like my mom still has this silly little like cutout, like what that kind of paper called? Construction paper, where I like
yeah.
glued on like a ghost, and I wrote this like 5 sentence short story about you go into a house, but it's haunted and there's a ghost there and you get scared and then you run away, but then you trip and there's a bunch of daggers and you die. Like that was like one of my first stories. So there's been
Yeah,
something about the macabre, the morbid, that I've just loved since I was little. I don't know. And so like I grew up reading Fear Street, R.L. Stein and Goosebumps, and loved the shit out of
my
all of that.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say my love for horror began in books. I just loved horror books. And then I remember when I graduated to like Fear Street
Yeah.
in like 5th grade, I felt so old. I was like, "Ooh, I'm reading like the young adults now and I'm only 10." Or however you all however old you are in 5th grade. And then I can't remember like the first horror movie, but I remember I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was like 7 or 8. I snuck it because my mom got the video from her sister as like a gag gift, because like back when they grew up in the 70s, they went and saw it for the first time. So it was like this piece of memorabilia that my aunt gave my mom, and then my mom turned as soon as she opened it. She turned to me and she's like, "Never watch this." And of course, I was like, "Oh, I'm watching it as soon as I
Yeah,
can." So, so the
yeah,
first moment I get, I like pop it in the VCR and I watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that just blew my mind. Now I know it's not necessarily like horror; it's like musical comedy horror, but like that
yeah,
was so weird that I fell in love, and I was like, "I want weird. I just want weird,
yeah,
whatever is fucked up, like, I want that." And so, of course, like, horror was the natural drifting, like, destination for me, but I'd say, like, those were some key moments. So it'd be, like, R.L. Stine and Rocky Horror Picture Show, bam, you built a horror lover.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, for me, it was music. It
Oh,
was
uh-huh.
it was Kiss and Alice Cooper that did it for me. That made me into like the scariest shit, because it's like
Totally.
the theatrics give it away, because you're like
Yeah,
you trying to figure out like holy shit, like I want more of this and this.
yeah,
Like I didn't get into like horror until like when it was like maybe 12 or something, like 12, 13 years old. But like,
yeah.
yeah, I always like count Alice Cooper as like my horror villain. He's my guy. He's the goat of theatrics.
He's
He's a
yeah, he's
story.
great.
He's a storyteller as well. Like it's
He
crazy.
is. He is, and he's very, very much in the community. So my mom lives in Michigan. I don't know how much you know about Michigan, but There's Detroit, Michigan, which is where well, I know he's in Michigan. I don't know if he's in Detroit,
Yeah.
but he does Nights with Alice Cooper on the radio there. At least he did 15 years ago when I lived in
Yeah.
Michigan for 1 year with my mom, and it was the coolest thing. I would listen to him every night. I can't remember if it was every night or just Friday nights. Whenever he came on the radio, I'd listen to him, and he's just so intelligent, so freaking
He
smart,
is.
and made
I remember
really great
listening to it as
decisions.
well.
Yeah, and so that I always thought he was really cool, and then that really laid upon me a deep respect for him, his art, his craft, his brilliance. So yada Alice Cooper, man. He's so cool.
Yeah, like every album just tells a story. One of my favorite concert albums though is obviously Welcome to My Nightmare, but like he has an album called Welcome Along Came the Spider, which is about a serial killer that kidnapped 8 female victims to make a spider, right? But with his
Dude, I didn't
eighth
know that.
victim, yeah, you got to listen to the whole album. It just tells a story, and I
What's the
believe there's
album
like a
again?
short. Along Came a Spider, Alice Cooper.
Okay.
I know there's like a film, like a short film on YouTube you can go on,
Oh, I see it
which is pretty
on
cool.
Google. Okay.
There's a song called "Kill by Love" that he falls in love with his eighth victim, and he doesn't know why, And at the end, called "I Am the Spider," it's just about him getting caught behind in prison, and he has voices stuck in his head.
So it's like a whole
Saying,
album that tells the story, not
yeah,
just one song.
yeah,
Wow.
no, it's a whole album. So if you listen to it and then put it all together, it's like one big story. I watched something on YouTube about it. He was saying that he wanted to do create a serial killer that was similar to the Joker and Hannibal Lecter and all that stuff.
That's so cool that
Because
you have artists doing it with music, like telling stories of serial killers and doing horror in music.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's creative.
I could actually see that as a movie, but then what Rob Zombie done with A House of a Thousand Corpses is like the Rocky Horror Picture Show meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's true.
It's just like a bloody musical film.
Yeah.
It's
What was the
got
film
a bit of comedy.
that Rob
What's
Zombie
that?
did right after that one?
Oh, Devil's Rejects.
That one. That's right.
That was
Can't
good too.
remember. Yeah, I remember liking it. I can't remember how it was different anymore. It's been so long.
Yeah, he went over the shop. He went from House of a Thousand Corpses to Devil's Rejects. Then he did like a psychological horror called Lords of Salem, which is based on the Salem witch trials.
Oh, you guys were talking about that in that podcast, right? A little bit.
I think
I feel
so.
like I remember
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah. And then what else did he? He did an animation movie, and then he did like the Halloween 1 and 2, which he says that he didn't enjoy doing that because it kind of feel like it was rushed. Especially the second one was rushed as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's parameters, like when you're used to doing your own work and then having to work within the parameters of like what a studio is telling you needs to happen probably feels really limiting as well. I assume. I don't know what happened, but
well, apparently he got approached to do Halloween, the reboot, because they approached him saying that, we want to do another Halloween franchise, either a sequel, prequel, or reboot. Are you in? Type of thing. So I think they gave him like a free picture deal. But I think after the second one, he's just like, see you later, fuck off.
She's like, no, I don't want to anymore.
Yeah. What do you think of reboots now? Like, I kind of feel like with like all these new horror movies that's coming out in the last maybe 10 years, it's all fucking reboots. Like, what do you think?
No, I used to really hate them. I used to really, really hate them and be like, come on, Hollywood, be original. But then I studied film and and learned a little bit about how those are like it's like a guarantee moneymaker. And I was like, okay, I guess I get it because it is a business. So
Yeah.
then in the early 2000s, when they started remaking some of the classics like House of Wax, or no, sorry, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then what was the other one? There was a couple that they did. They did House of Wax, but that wasn't a remake, right? Was it?
I'm pretty sure there was an OG of Remax. Oh, House of Wax. Sorry.
Right? Yeah, that
Because
was an original.
so that was the reboot.
I can't remember. I'm trying to quickly Google, but
Because all I
they
remember is
did.
like Paris Hilton getting the pole through her head.
Yeah, that's why we all watched it, right? We all wanted
Yep.
to see her die.
Yep.
The Hills Have Eyes, right? Like what happened in the early 2000s? Anyway, I remember there was a few reboots that I actually liked, and that surprised me because normally I was such like a hater. So
Yeah.
now I guess what I like is when they're redone, but they're not trying to be an exact replica. I think that's what Texas Chainsaw Massacre did, the reboot in the early
Yeah.
2000s.
And Rob Zombie
And
as well. We'll have
yeah,
Halloween.
where it's like it's not trying to just be like what Psycho did, or it's like frame for frame exactly the same, where they just like take the original story and build upon it. Like I like
Yeah.
that if it's done well. That's kind of what I think about it. What about you?
Yeah. It's a bit of a hit and miss. I know people uh gave a lot of shit for Rob Zombie for Halloween for what he done. But I think for what he done, and I think you might have heard it on the Halloween ranking episode that I did with my friend Corey Thomas, how we both said that, like the storyline is completely different to the original. Because like with the original, it just tells you about Laurie Strode and her friends getting stalked by a masked killer,
Right.
right? But when
Right.
with Rob Zombie's version, you see also like also like a prequel to how
Like
Michael
his
Myers
story.
became like his story, and I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool how he did that. To be honest,
Yeah, I gotta see it because that sounds interesting to me. I like a good origin story.
yeah, because just makes sense on like how he became a killer, really, than just
Yeah.
being a young boy killing his stepsister or babysitter or whatever it was, and then 20 years later, he's out. But how did he get out? You know what I mean? How did he find the
Yeah.
costume? How did he come up with the mask? So what Rob Zombie did for that reboot for Halloween, I thought that was really good. I thought that was really clever of him that he actually told the whole backstory behind it. But then you get like those hardcore Halloween fans, like you're like, oh, he ruined the franchise. He ruined everything. Like, no, he didn't.
See, okay, so like here's what I've understood about, just like touring the genre festival circuit is because as you know, like my film, it's a psychological horror. I don't have any gore. It's all mental, it's all suggested. So like the real horror is in like what you think is happening. Um, but so we don't always fit into genre fests, even though technically speaking, we are still part of the genre. People love their slashers, their gore. Like that's like
Oh
they
yeah,
want the tropes, and some people are diehard. That's all that they want. But I feel like that can only take you so far, especially with a franchise like Halloween, right? You have X amount of films made. At a certain point, it's just the same thing. Like it's just the same formula over and over again, which is cool. And I think a lot of people like they want that. But then I think there's also people who really appreciate when that starts to get tired and you need a little bit more. You need a little bit more character building. You need a little bit
yeah,
more understanding as to why this killer is killing. Otherwise, it's just like,
yeah,
okay, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. So
yeah.
just based on what you're saying, I think like I would like Rob Zombie's iteration of Hollywood. I'm Halloween. And
Yeah. I
Hollywood.
It's such a great movie. I freaking loved it. And it's so funny that because like the first time I watched Halloween was like, I don't know, Halloween H2O or something, or maybe Halloween 5 or 6.
Oh,
One of
that was the
those
first
ones. But
Halloween you
then
saw?
yeah, but like
Oh, wow.
I didn't watch the original till after I've watched the reboot, to be honest with you.
Oh,
And
okay.
with the original, there was barely any blood in the original. You know, there was
Oh,
like very
really?
minimum blood. Yeah, if you
How
go back and
funny.
watch it, but then I watched it in 4K, so you can see like every bit of detail. But
It's so funny to watch old movies in
y-
4K.
I know it's really cool though. I really love it. Yeah, it's more of a psychological horror or thriller than more than a slasher for that
Yeah,
first Halloween movie.
I'll have to watch it again. Just rewatched the beginning because me and my producer, his name's Patrick, and we're currently now working on a short script together. And he's writing it, and then I'm going to direct it. But we keep talking about, directing techniques and ways to show things. And so we rewatched like the whole opening scene, and he was showing me the switch of point of view, how it like will be
Yeah,
from Michael's mask, and then it'll be like an omniscient point of view, and then it'll be like, a stalking point of view, and then Lori's point, or the people in the house or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting, because we were having a talk about shifting points of view, and some people are like really against it for some reason, but
y-
yeah. So
yeah,
I'll have to
and
rewatch the whole thing to look out for the low gore.
yeah, it is because like to me, it's a psychological thriller, and I don't really care what anyone would say, but to me, that's a psychological thriller because it's all in your head. Like,
Yeah, I guess so. Because even
you
like
know,
I think the first girl that he kills, I can't remember if it's the first kill, but it's from the point of view of within the mask. So you don't even see
yeah,
blood. It's just, he's stabbing and she's just
yeah,
screaming, but you actually don't even see anything. You just see you know, him moving
yeah,
around in his
just the mask.
mask and
Yeah,
breathing.
yeah. But you gotta watch the reboot. After you watch the reboot, let me know what you think because
Okay,
that
yeah.
reboot of Halloween is super brutal.
Okay, so it like does a total 180 as far as like
Yeah,
what it shows, the gore. Okay, that's
yeah.
cool.
But like the only thing I hate about them doing reboots is doing sequels for like movies that are like 30 years old. And they're like, oh, we're gonna do a sequel 30 years later prior from this movie. Like, no. Stop, please. Because I did that with the Exorcist Believer, I believe. That was like the direct sequel
Oh, that's right. I didn't end
from
up
the
seeing it
first
because
one, I believe.
I read the worst
It was
reviews about
horrible.
it. So yeah, so I just didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but they brought back like Linda Blair or something like that, and
I do
some of the
remember
old
reading
actors.
that.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna make it better. Just stop. Probably one of my favorite reboots that I've seen in the last couple of years. This one was recently was Nosferatu. So I thought that
I
was
still haven't I haven't seen that one.
it was really good. The only issue that I had with that movie is why talk?
Yeah, okay, because the original was a silent film,
That's that's what
right?
that got me into silent horror,
Oh.
um, like A Quiet Place. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
man. A Quiet Place, I finally just watched the whole franchise, earlier this year, and I
yeah,
loved the first one. Second one was good. I did not like the last one, but that was great. I was very
yeah. The
pleasantly
first one was good. The
surprised.
second one was shit. I'm sorry, but like, I went
I thought it
downhill
was
from there.
okay. It did though. It was
Yeah,
like top tier the first one, middle tier the second one, and then just done skis the last one. Felt like they were just trying to
yeah,
squeeze the last money out of the entire franchise with that last one.
yeah. Exactly right. And sometimes it
Yeah.
seems hard to write a proper story from a movie from like 20 years ago to make either a direct sequel or a prequel because like if you want to do like a sequel from like 20 years ago or something like that, wouldn't it be nice to have like some of the original cast back on
Yeah.
and not have somebody to replace the character that doesn't look like them,
Y
you know?
yeah,
Like
exactly. Yep.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's shit to be
The
honest.
one
That's just
the
my opinion,
one
but
I'm with you. I typically am. I think it's really hard for people to suspend their disbelief, when there's been a whole bunch of time and there's like an actor shift and it's not explained fully in the story, or I should say it's not explained well, in the
yeah,
story, which I find is just lazy writing, to be honest, because we can't suspend our disbelief for that many years. I mean, come
Well,
on.
it's either lazy money or it's just a cash grab.
Yeah, it always reads
Lazy
as a cash
writing, no.
grab.
I said lazy money, lazy writing, sorry.
I like lazy
Yeah, I think
money. They're just sitting
yeah.
back like, "Give me my money."
Yeah, exactly. The money that they can't get. Um, yeah, or it could just be a cash grab because that's what Hollywood's doing all like these days now with these directors doing reboots and prequels, like a prequel that we don't need, especially like with what they were doing with Halloween, what we were talking before we hit the record button. Um, it all went downhill, I think, after like Halloween 2. Like Halloween 3 was just meant Halloween 3 was good. I really enjoyed it. It's a very underrated movie. It's a different, a different
Which
vibe
one is
from
where they're in the mental institution? Is that 3 or 2?
it 2.
Okay.
And
Okay.
3 is it's sort of like um uh number 3 is Season of the Witch, how like the kids watch like the things on the TVs and they got like the pumpkin on their heads and shit.
What? I guess I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So then
You
I
haven't I
think I've only
Season of
seen
the
3
Witch.
then. No, no, no,
Yeah.
wait. I saw Wait, maybe I did see one past H2O. I saw the one where it's on Halloween and the kids are getting like slaughtered. Wait, was that Halloween?
Is that with the pumpkins on
Yeah,
their heads and they have like that weird mask?
maybe. Oh no.
Was if it was
All
that, that would
right.
be number 3 because that didn't have Michael Myers in it.
What's Halloween Returns? I think that's the one I saw. Where
Which one is that?
yeah,
Second one?
where her granddaughter is all like doesn't believe her, and her and her mom, the granddaughter and the mom think that Jamie Lee Curtis, like Lori, is
Oh, that was
crazy.
2018. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
2018.
that was Halloween Returns. That was the last one that I saw, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
So I've only seen
I guess
4.
yeah.
So Halloween 1 and
So I
2,
think
and then H2O in that one.
yeah, so the 18 one, yeah, that
Yeah.
was like the sequel to fucking one of them. It's just like the the timeline is all over the shop. Like it's you can't keep up with it, and like I wish they stopped doing just different timelines with different actors and different storylines. It just ruins the whole franchise.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's very fair. You know who's reboot and prequel I actually really enjoy? It's not a movie, but it's Dexter. I don't know how much
Yeah,
you follow Dexter,
I
but I
used to watch
really
it. But
have you
it's
seen the
been a while
reboot?
though. Oh, is it like the prequel, like how he became Dexter and stuff like that?
So that's the most recent. There was New Blood, which would be the
Yeah.
reboot. So it would be like the 10 years after, or whatever, 15 years after, where his son comes looking for him. And
Mm.
then like a couple years after that, so that was like 2020 maybe, and then 2021, and then they just did the sequel, the what are the Original Sin, Dexter Original Sin. So it just got renewed for a second season, but it's yeah, now it's like how Dexter became Dexter and
Dexter.
Deb became Deb. Yeah. And they're actually
Oh, that's
really
cool.
good. It took a while. I really love the way that they did the reboot, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
because it followed like it picked up the story like where we are in present time. So it's like, okay, that was then, but now we're in, the 2020s. And so it had all this new modern stuff. It featured podcast host, and I thought that the serial killer and the kills were really awesome, and the story was awesome. The cinematography was
Yeah.
elevated. Some people hate it, but I thought it was a good upgrade from where Dexter was. And then the prequel has kind of gone back to the earlier days, and it's a little bit more campy, less
Yeah.
elevated, more campy. And it took a while for me to get used to the new actors who were
Yeah.
representing the characters. It probably took me like half the season, and then finally I'm like, all right, I will give in. But I really like it. I've never liked a prequel and reboot as much as I have for Dexter. And I know this is a TV series,
Yeah,
but since we're talking about reboots and prequels and stuff, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'll get up to check it out. What's it on? Will it be like Amazon or something, or maybe?
What is it on? Is it on Paramount? Showtime? I can't. I don't know because they keep merging. All of
Yeah,
these companies
yeah,
keep merging. Let's see. Dexter.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
think it is Paramount.
sequels, prequels, and like requels. They just stop. Like
I know they're
Scream,
such a. They really are
Scream
a
Five.
bummer.
Like Scream 5 was cool. I really enjoyed it. I actually took my mom and sister for that movie to see that movie.
I
And
stopped at Scream 2.
yeah, it kind
So Scream
of
5 is good?
sort of went, yeah, it was decent.
Okay.
It's like whole new characters, but then they brought like Dewey and Sidney Prescott and um Courtney Cox and stuff like that.
Cox.
And
Uh-huh.
they had like flashbacks of Loomis as well.
Who is Loomis?
Um, Billy Lewis. So he was Sidney Prescott's boyfriend,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and
I tried to watch the
yeah,
series too. Did you watch the series?
oh yeah, that yeah.
I couldn't get through
It-
it.
I didn't like the mask, but I think it was after the second or third series or something they got back the original mask. Um, yeah, I'm not a fan of requels, like trying to recreate the original. That's what I kind of feel like what they did with number 5, whole new characters, but like they brought back the old characters, to help
Yeah.
him survive Ghostface. I don't know. Directors need to come up with something good. This is why I like these low budget horror films, especially people who make
Can you hear that? Alexa, off. She's trying to hijack our podcast. Sorry, continue.
oh damn, it's all good. That's why I like these low budget horror films, man. There's like so many really stupid, funny low budget horror films out there that you can watch like on Tubi or something like that. Like,
Which I just found out. Somebody told me at Chicago Horror Fest that they have their independent horror feature film, on Tubi, and like you can actually make money as a filmmaker off the ads there. And I did not know that that was a filmmaker resource. So that's actually really cool. Makes me want to watch more like low budget independent films on Tubi.
yeah, I find like the low budget ones are just funny to watch because like it's like less CGI. It's
Right.
like it's average acting. It's a very low budget. It's the script sometimes goes nowhere or it just doesn't make sense at all. But like it's just enjoyable to watch with a group of friends.
Yeah.
Like the most funniest one I've watched was probably Velocipaster. It's about a priest that turns into a fucking dinosaur.
Yes, I don't know how I've heard of that one, but I have.
Yeah, and he kills like his family gets killed. Then he hooks up with his prostitute, and then like they fight crime together.
Dude, that's amazing. See, I love that corny, campy kind of shit.
Yeah,
Where it's just
there's meant to be a
totally over the
sequel.
top.
Yeah, there's meant to be a sequel, but I'm not too sure when that's gonna happen or not. But I'm known for watching really dodgy horror films, and every time I mention these horror movies to the guys that I work with, they're like, "Where do you find these things?" Like the internet, like
Totally.
and shit
Absolutely. By
like
the
that.
way, somebody just showed me a trailer. I hate watching trailers, by the way. I feel
Oh,
like
me
they
too. They
always
give away too
they always
much.
give away. Yes, they do. And then they'll set my expectations too high. It's like if
Yep.
I see something, I'll expect something, and then which if I do that with the baby, sorry to anybody who's seeing the trailer and sees the film, but or even sees my post. I feel like sometimes with the baby, because all of my like posts are meant to be clues, but they're not actually like what's in the film. Not all of them are what's in the film, and I feel like I hope I'm not disappointing people when they watch my film and they're like, "There's no placentas in this."
Yeah.
Where are the placentas? But anyway, I digress. My when my expectations are too high, then I don't enjoy a film. But if I have zero expectation, I most likely will enjoy like every film. But somebody was showing me the director of Barbarian has a new horror film. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Which one is
And
that one?
I told him to shut it off. Don't show me the trailer.
The
Um,
Barbarian was a good movie, by the way. I
I
didn't
know,
know
I
that.
really liked it. So as soon as I saw from the director of Barbarian, I was like, "Stop it, because I'm gonna watch this. So
Mm,
don't show it to me. Let me see if I can
don't
find."
spoil it.
I know, right? Wait, he did. Wait, hold on. What's his name? Zach Kreger. That's a cool name. See if I can find this film. Also, an elder millennial like it's called Weapons. Have you heard of this?
Nah.
Horror Mystery 2025 comes out in August. A small community grapples with the aftermath of 17 high school students vanishing overnight, and then
Ooh,
more. But yeah, I want to see this movie.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of like fan films? Like, have you seen any of like fan like horror films like on YouTube? Because they're everywhere right now on YouTube, like the Friday the 13th and Scream ones and Halloween fan
You mean like
like
people
made
making
meal.
their own versions? Is
Yeah,
that what you mean? I
yeah.
haven't actually. That is not any territory I've dove into yet. I didn't even think about that. I know about fan
Some
fiction as far as like writing, but I didn't think about it as far as film.
yeah, no, it's you can find them on YouTube and they what an hour and 20 minutes or so, maybe an hour.
What?
Uh, they're really, really, really good. Like they're really shot well. It's like you could tell there's like a lot of
What?
freaking time and money and just hard work put into them. I was watching one of the Friday the 13th fan um
Looking this up
fan
right now.
films on YouTube,
Okay.
and it is so well done for a bunch of like just film students that are passionate about
Wow.
directing and horror movies
So
and the
like
franchise itself.
Friday the 13th Vengeance? Is that one
Yeah,
of
well,
them?
there's heaps of them, man. There's probably more than the actual franchise
No
sequels.
Man's Land. Okay, I'm gonna check this out because this is right up my alley. Wow, this is so cool. I did not know that people were I mean, it makes sense, but I did not know that people were doing this with film.
No, I think it's really creative of them to do that type of things, to have their
Totally.
own version of like their favorite horror films or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I've saw one on YouTube. I think it was for like 20 minutes or so. There was a Batman one that was pretty cool. Probably one of my favorite ones. It's like the same length like the baby, like 15 minutes or so, called
Mhm.
Joker's Wild. It's just about the Joker that kidnaps Robin and just tortures him. I'll
And
send
then
you the
oh my
link.
god. Yeah, I
It's
would
on
love that.
YouTube. The guy that played the Joker is the guy that played Art the Clown.
Wait, which clown?
Art the Clown from the Terrifier movies.
Oh yeah, okay. So Terrifier. I hated that film. I only watched the first one. But this is
It
where
gets better at the second and third.
does it?
Yeah, I because it's more of a backstory from the second and third. Because the
Okay.
first one had no backstory. It's
Okay.
just about a clown killing two girls
So
or
so
multiple
that would
people.
be because that goes back to our point of like there's only so far I think a trope in the genre, film genre can like take you. And I've started to get tired of just straight trope. But I mean, I feel like that's true for any of the genres. So like if it's a comedy, if it's just straight, like like knee slapping spitball comedy, there's only so far that it can take me if it's not connected to actual like character or character development. Like I care more about characters at this stage of my life. And so that was my qualm with Terrifier, as I was like, okay, like this is cool and like terrifying, but I'm past, I don't know if I'll ever return to it, but I'm past the stage of just being scared because things are scary. Like you need
Mm.
to get into my mind a little bit more. And then I need to believe, like, why is this clown like doing this? Then that's going to make it more scary somehow. I don't know if that makes sense, but so that was why when I was done watching Terrifier, I'm like, I don't know why this is so popular. This was stupid. This
Yeah,
was
no,
just
I
straight like
agree.
slasher, like scary. But if it
Yeah,
actually builds upon that, then I'm interested.
yeah. The second
Sorry to
one
all the
went for
people who
like
like
maybe.
Terrifier.
Well, I no, I gotta admit, I didn't like the first one because I thought it was just fucking stupid and just had no backstory, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was just
Yeah.
like this cheesy, crappy, low budget horror film. But I guess like the more you watch it, you kind of you sort of have a bit of like appreciation for it because it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, that part
Any
is
new
true.
low budget, yeah, it's a lot of hard work. But the second one, it made me a fan. It has more
Okay.
of a backstory to it. Um, there was one
I'll give it a
scene that
shot.
kind of the bedroom scene was pretty fucked up, I must say.
Okay.
It goes for
Yeah,
like
don't say
it goes
anymore.
for like no, but the movie went for the second one went for like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
It's a long film. I mean, the third one is a Christmas one. I watched that in theaters. That went for about 2 hours and 15, I think it was.
Okay, that's good
Or
to
just
know. So I'll save that for Christmas because I always am like trying to figure out what horror Christmas movie or show to watch during Christmas
yeah,
time.
yeah. But but that Terrifier 3 became like one of the highest grossing horror like
I,
movies to
d-
come
I,
out.
I do remember reading that. Yeah, I felt very
Yeah.
what's the word? Like I bow to you, good filmmaker, sir, for your franchise success. Because I thought that was really cool how he started out just like a low independent film and then became this like
Yeah.
huge franchise, like money making franchise. That's really cool. It's like
Yeah,
every
it's
filmmaker's
very
dream. I think
every
maybe to make money
yeah.
from it, not necessarily to have a franchise.
Yeah, well, I think from what I've heard from an interview that apparently during the filming of Terrifier 2, he was like still doing his day job as delivering of flowers.
Wow.
So he was delivering
Yeah.
flowers while filming Terrifier 2 because I think Terrifier 2 was sort of like a crowd-funded movie to get
Okay.
the
That
extra
kind of actually
like,
sounds familiar.
yeah, to get that extra money for the movie that he wanted to make, I guess. But every that movie hit big too. But like, yeah, I guess like the production is going to get bigger and bigger. The more money you make, the more money you want to put onto your next film, I guess. Because that's the reason
Yeah.
why Terrifier 3 became so big. It's just the way how it was written. And I believe there might be, I've known there's going to be Terrifier 4, but I think from what I've heard from an interview, it might stop at 4 or 5 because he doesn't want to make a big ass sequel timeline. It just doesn't make sense after like the first
Right.
3 or 4.
Okay. Well,
Just
now I've
yeah,
got
well,
a
just
lot of movies to watch.
yeah,
But
yeah.
definitely Terrifier 2 and then maybe some
Terrifier
Halloween.
3.
I wanna see the
Yeah,
Rob Zombie Halloween ones. And then um real quick, what'd you think about Smile 1 and 2?
I loved it. The
Yeah.
first one fucked me up. it was it it like this was at the beginning of the movie when the chick was like smiling or some shit like that, and she like cuts her throat
I think so. I can't remember
or
because I
something.
saw it when it first came out. The
Yeah,
second
I
one's
really
more
enjoyed it.
recent. What'd you think
The
about the
second one
second
was good
one?
too. The second one was crazy. Like the ending was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
So, like,
all this
now
time she was like, all that time that she was just a complete lunatic.
right, well, so, like, okay, so then this is me sort of reneging on what I just said because that's a franchise that doesn't fully explain why it's happening, right?
Mm.
I can't remember if it does in the first one. Does it?
No, I kind of feel like with the first one was just it's just about like a mentally ill patient that had all these
Right.
fucked up things in their head. I reckon.
Right. And then so that's sort of like how I interpret it too, is like it's sort of a metaphor for mental illness. I'm sure other things too. It reminds me of It Follows a little bit, uh, which is the premise of the monster. But it doesn't have a backstory of the monster, but I think the monster
Yeah,
is us. It's mental. And so that's why I'm a little bit more lenient on not on it being a little bit more tropey in a sense, but I found it to be, especially the second one. I like the second one more than the first one. My fiance disagrees. He thinks the
yeah,
first one was better. I think they just
yeah,
had better cinematography and a little bit more better camera tricks.
yeah,
And a bigger budget clearly for the second one.
yeah.
So I liked it.
The
But I
effects on the
also have
second one was good.
yeah, exactly. And I also really liked the dance, like the dancers and
Yeah,
like the fact that she was this pop star. It added this layer of like mental fuckery to it. But surprisingly, I really like Smile too. I wasn't sure. Because a lot of times sequels aren't better than the original, but I liked it a lot.
yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed The Substance as well.
So that is one that I still haven't seen. Can't tell me anything. I had like the blinders on. It's a movie that I know I'm gonna love.
Yeah.
Just I think I was sick when my fiance went to go see it. He went to go see it with his sons. And so I stayed back and then they loved it. And then of course it won all of these awards.
Mm,
And then I made a pact with a friend who hasn't seen it that we were supposed to see it together, but then since we're adults, we keep being too tired to hang out.
that's true.
So so I haven't seen it yet. I just I can't wait. I think
It's
I'd really
really
like it.
good. I'm not
Yeah.
really familiar with the whole like body horror
Mhm.
genre because I haven't seen much of it. But it was wild. Like the effects, I think it won like best effects in best effects award or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like that whole movie was crazy.
I can't I'm speaking of it, I should probably text my friend and be like, "Let's watch it." We'll make plans for this weekend and then cancel last minute.
Yeah, I think
We'll just have to
it
have
was
a
it
watch
was
party.
yeah.
No, at
Oh
this
hell
point.
yeah! Well, even do
Yeah.
probably once you watch it, maybe we could do like a film review as well.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have a lot of, opinions and comments on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. That was crazy as shit. But my next question for you is why do people love horror movies? What do you think what people get
Get out of
so
it.
drawn into it? Yeah. You reckon it's like the jump scares or like the thrills or just
Yeah, so yeah, I think that, we're talking, like, specifically tropey,
mm,
reasoning. I think 100% there's an adrenaline rush, right, to being
yeah,
scared. It's a controlled scared too, so it's like a way that we can feel that sensation while it's in control. So we're not like actually about to be murdered. We're not actually,
yeah,
like being scared by scary people. Same thing like with the roller coaster, right? It's like how often, or like skydiving, how often are you gonna like fall? It's like a controlled sensation of that. I think it's fun. It's fun. There's a little bit of adrenaline rush there. Kind of the
yeah,
same way like when I play video games or when I have in the past, if I play like a scary one and you got like
yeah.
a ghost or a zombie or something coming at you, you have that jump and your heart starts racing. It's a fun feeling. I think
It
that's
is.
one big
Yeah.
reason. I think another reason is we all have like anger and like frustration, and we can't murder people in real life.
Mm,
There's like moral reasons, there's ethical reasons, there's legal reasons that we can't just go, punch somebody's head in. But I know that at certain part of our life, at some point, we've all felt the desire to act on it.
yeah,
And most of us
yeah,
don't. So it's probably cathartic to one, like see it happen, in like a fictional sense, and then also if it's actually character driven, for me, I can definitely relate to this. There's some catharses, and like if the character deserves it and eventually like deserves to die, let's say, and then eventually we have like the protagonist or whoever like finally killing that victim or beating them up or whatever it is, giving them what they deserve. There's some catharsis in like just being human to see it. It's like, so we might not get justice in our lives or we may not be able to do that ourselves, but fuck yeah, on screen we got to witness it, and that feels damn good. So those are that's what I
Yeah,
think. Yeah, what about you?
yeah. I think everyone's entitled for a good scare. You know, uh, I just like to be shocked, eh? Like it just like like I didn't see that shit coming. Like
Yeah.
one of those type of things, like unnecessary deaths, like you don't really expect to see, or
Ooh,
you
wait, but I do
know,
like that. Yeah, totally.
yeah, especially that's what I loved about the first Scream movie, and that's what got me into horror. Is because like the opening scene to Scream was like Drew Barrymore getting stalked and she got killed, which you think that, oh, she's gonna be the surviving girl or
Totally.
whatever, but no.
No, had like the best death scene in the whole movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And if you watch that movie in 4K, the scene where she's like hung up on the tree, you actually see her guts out.
like better. Like,
Yeah, like actually you see the detail of her like insides hanging out from her
all
stomach.
right,
I am
challenge
not joking.
accepted.
Yeah, so yeah, if you ever watch it in 4K, you'll know what I mean. Like you see every small detail in that movie. It's crazy. But
Okay, so what?
like what's
No,
that?
go on. Go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say like what I was saying to you about how Alice Cooper is like the goat of being a horror villain, but he's also like the goat of shock rock because um people wants to get wants to get that shock entertainment, and then if you want to give them the nightmare, show them the nightmare, and that's kind of like that in horror movies, like if you want to see something that wants to scare the if you want to see a movie that wants to like scare the living shit out of you, and then you want to be scared from that movie, you want to get scarred for life for
Totally.
that. That's why home invasion horror movie scares the shit out of me still, like because it's real, like
Yeah. Yeah, like a real threat, a real fear.
yeah,
Um,
like the
Totally
strangers
fair.
still
I was just
like the
thinking about it.
strangers still
Yeah.
the stranger still scares me to this day, like
Yeah, that movie, I'd heard about it. I remember it came out and it won some awards or some accolades, I can't remember, and then finally, like, alone on a Friday night, I decided to watch it by myself, not really knowing what it was about, and it blew my mind. Like, I don't get a lot
yeah,
of films that blow my mind. I'm not sure if Strangers holds up now, but I do remember, like, when I first saw it, I was
it
like,
still does.
"Holy shit." Yeah. And you know who
Yeah,
else? So I'm with you on like being shocked on like what's unexpected. I love originality and creativity. I love that shit. I think that's part of the reason why I liked Barbarian. Is I didn't know what to expect. And then it was just like kept coming out of left field, and then you had Justin Long in it who added some nice like comedic reprieve, which was fun. And then it
yeah.
was just like such like what the fuck? No, I love that. I love when directors, writers, the whole team play with discomfort. I love when I'm uncomfortable, and so Ari Aster has been the master at that for me. Like, he's been the one who is, at least with Midsummer and Hereditary, Beau is Afraid is
Midsummer was great.
yeah, but those 2 films, so, like, he actually revamped my love for horror, because I
Yeah,
started getting really tired of horror, and I was like, "I don't know if I, like horror anymore," and I switched to true crime, like, watching
yeah,
everything true crime for, like, a good 4 years, um, and then, my friend, who's a big horror buff, his name is Chase, he was like, "You've not seen Ari Aster films?" And he sat me down, he's like, "We're starting with Hereditary," and then I think everybody has the same experience, you see her head knobbed
yep.
off the beginning and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then it's just brilliant. And then Midsummer, it's like
I
same. And
I
I love his
I
what were you gonna
giggled
say?
at that scene. I
Which one?
kind
The
of giggled
head
at that. Yeah, where she like
coming
had her
off?
head and I hears clink.
It
Like
wasn't
I'm sorry,
expected. That's
but
all I can say.
it's same with the Quiet Place when that little boy gets snatched. That
I
made me
know.
jump. That
Yeah.
made me jump. Like that was so because I watched that in theaters, and
Oh, lucky.
that made me fucking jump because like I was trying to be quiet, eating my popcorn, watching the fucking movie, but like it's just like what the hell did I just saw? It's like
Yep.
I love those type of things, and those are my favorites, and keeps you
I
guessing.
agree. I'm with you. I do love, yeah. I mean, and that goes to good writing. People
Yeah,
really thoughtful about what we as horror moviegoers already expect from the horror genre and like how to push those boundaries. Um,
yeah,
Trying to think, there was a teacher that I took at Sundance Collab. He was a horror teacher. He gave me a saying. I can't remember fully. I wish I could say it, but it was like surpass or exceed expectations. You never want to give in to expectations. You want to try and like always go way beyond like what we're already expecting. And I don't feel like that's
yeah,
too tall of an order for the horror film because like we have like a set expectation, which is kind of like gore and slasher and kill. But there's still ways that you can like surprise us.
yeah,
Love
yeah,
that.
exactly. But to go back to that question I was saying to you, why do I think horror is like the most why people get drawn into it? I think it's the culture and it's like the fan base, and then it's one of those ones that you can all just have a group of random people that you haven't met before, maybe at a convention or just somewhere, and just have discussions about it. Everyone's got to have their own opinion on these things, but it's always good to have like a discussion about like our favorite horror films and why we love them so much. And that's what I loved about the horror community, the horror genre, just everything about it.
You're so right. But like seriously though, what is it about horror? Because I don't see people collecting rom-com VHSs and like
Mm.
or
I think there are people that do collect that type of things.
okay, you're right. But I've just met and encountered so many more people who have like a huge collection of all things horror. They buy all the, propaganda or whatever you call it, all of the figurines and all the things. Like people get really into horror.
Into it. Yeah.
Like into it. So there really is something specific about that genre.
Mm.
Maybe we're
But
all
I don't
just
know.
secret murderers,
maybe we're all just
closet
sick in the head.
murderers.
Yeah. No, I think I just think that people just love it for just I guess it's for the thrills, maybe.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
it's
know.
fun. It is fun because
Yeah,
horror is also one of those genres that doesn't always take itself actually often doesn't take itself so seriously, and
yeah.
it's nice. Yeah.
I had one guest on here. He's a big horror nerd. I've had him on with his band once, and I had him back on just to talk about horror films. And his whole room is covered in horror collectibles.
Yeah.
Everything.
I know
Oh,
I know.
he has a page that I could probably send you later on. But like he's such a cool
Yeah.
dude. And but yeah, he's got like heaps of like replica masks and movie posters signed by actors and stuff like that.
That's so
Just
cool. Yeah.
everything. Well, let's finish off with top 5 horror villains. Who would you pick your top 5 horror villains?
Holy crap. Okay. Horror villains.
It's a tough
Well,
one, isn't it?
first off, would obviously be Casey from The Baby.
Yeah.
She's my number one. Um,
Yeah.
then Dexter, I guess. I mean, I've talked about him at length how much I love the series, so hopefully I can bring TV series into this.
Mhm.
Dexter would be 2. Um this is hard.
Mm.
What are yours? Maybe it'll jog some of my memories.
Okay. It changes all the time. So I went with Art the Clown as 5. Captain Spaulding from A House of a Thousand Corpses because it's funny and stupid, but just enjoyable to watch. At number 4. Number 3, I'll probably have to go with Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Then number so I did. So I'm up to number 2 now. Yeah.
Think so.
Yeah, number
Or what?
2. Number 2 would have to go with Ghostface because Ghostface could be anyone, right? It could be played by anyone, the serial killer. That's
Wait,
what I
who's
like about him.
Ghostface? I just think of Ghostface
From
Killer. What's Ghostface?
Ghostface from Scream. The
Oh,
killer.
is that his actual
Mm.
like official name?
Yeah, it's just Ghostface because it could be played by anyone.
I guess, right? Because so wait, in the following Screams, are there other people putting on the mask and doing the killings? I can't remember Scream 2.
Yeah, there
Okay, so
are
it's always
multiple
different.
people. Yeah,
Oh.
but it's either an ex-boyfriend or a family member.
Okay.
And then
Fair.
number 1, so like number 1 have to go with Alice Cooper because like I said, he's the ultimate rock villain in classic rock and metal. I always throw him in there because he's the guy that got me into horror. So there you go.
Yeah.
But then if I
Let me see.
have to pick them, but then if I have to pick number 1 though, I would have to probably put maybe either Leatherface or Michael Myers. One of those 2. As number 1, as those top horror villains.
Can you hear the printer?
Yeah.
You're fired. I'm doing a podcast. Now we all know you're printing something. Should I read your secrets aloud?
Yeah, go.
Hey, do you remember what horror films I like? Because I can't. I'm on the spot. We're doing top 5 villains. Come on in. This is the producer. Come say hi. This is Patrick, the producer of The Baby.
Hey,
Hello.
This is Adam.
What's up, Adam?
Here.
what's going on, dude? Nice to meet you.
He said, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Rad.
Yeah, it's happening. We're just discussing top 5 horror villains, and she's taking forever to pick top 5.
Yeah, we got-
Okay, so far. Have you picked anything yet?
There you go. I picked Casey from The Baby, naturally.
Okay.
Come a little closer.
Well, I think 2 of your favorite horror-ish movies are Midsummer and Hereditary.
Talked about that.
So,
But like the villain and so I also picked Dexter because Dexter's one of my favorites. But then I'm thinking about like a villain. You got me, man.
really?
You got me. Yeah, I can't think of anything. You know, I'm gonna go with Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because he was a villain.
Yeah.
They killed him. He was a villain. So I've got 3.
I'll give you some.
Yeah.
Well, for me or for you?
Just add on to the conversation.
Okay, villains. Well, I love Willem Dafoe in Wild at Heart. He's kind of a villain.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a horror movie, but he's so creepy. His teeth in that movie alone make me want to freak out. I think the classic slasher is got to be Michael Myers from Halloween. You can't go wrong with him, especially in that first movie. He's just, it says nothing, but it's just his like silhouette alone is terrifying. He doesn't need to. He is just bigger than life. Who else? Wow, what other good villains?
I know, on the spot. It's hard to remember.
Well, listen, I'm a big fan of in horror movies, not just like what the villain or the monster does, but what people do to other people. I feel like the best horror movies have that element of just how people treat each other. Not so much, right? Just the monster. Like if you look at the movie It Follows, which is an amazing movie. there's the villain, right? This like the creature that goes from person to person after, some people say it's a metaphor for HIV or sexually transmitted diseases. I don't think that's right. I think it's a metaphor for sexual trauma and how we pass sexual trauma on to people through abuse. But anyways, what's scary about that movie is not just the villain, which is the monster that goes from person to person, but the people and how they treat each other. The people who decide to actually give the monster to somebody else. That I think is, I think that to me is more terrifying. The way people do that to each other.
I think I've seen that movie once, and is it the scene where like it was in the beach, and you see like a missing body part or something like that?
Yeah,
like the leg,
like a leg sticking up in the air.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I've only seen it once, but yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree with that one.
You know what's funny is like when I first saw it, I didn't like it. I was like, this is stupid. And then but I was young. Like whenever that came out, I saw it in the theater.
About 10
so like
years ago.
10
years ago.
Okay. Well, but then I heard, his opinion on it, and I'm like, let's give it another shot. And then the second time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really well done. This is actually smarter than I realized. And I think that's because, like I was saying, like my ideas shifted about what I like for horror. And like I used to be strictly tropey and slashery, and then like at some point, so like I saw it in that phase of my life, and at some point I was like, I want a little bit more like depth to my horror. And then you presented it in a way. I was like, okay, he's right.
Another good example for me is the whole Alien series.
Oh, yeah,
but I love the alien creature, especially in the first one. But the alien transforms from the single gothic horror to the James Cameron war version to the David Fincher. But in all those movies, right, like the company is probably the biggest villain that actually sends them to go get the alien. The people who actually like expose everyone to the real horror. The alien is just it is what it is. It's a killing machine. But if it hadn't been for whatever that company is, I can't remember, it's like a Japanese sounding-ish name. If they hadn't sent the ship, the Nostromo, to go look for the alien, nothing bad would have happened. And same thing for the second one. So it's really people pushing each other into stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember
it's a
another
tough one. Wow, what was the other one?
Okay. So when The Ring, the American version, first came out, that scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah.
Like for whatever reason.
Same.
So I just rewatched it, and it didn't hold its weight anymore.
I think it still does.
Okay, well, I feel like horror has evolved and a bit, and storytelling has evolved. But Samara, she would be a villain on my list then, just for back in the day, the way that she scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, the whole hair in the face thing.
Yeah, like exactly.
Kind of going backward, and that definitely got reused in like I feel like 15 other movies. So when Samara came out, it was very original. So I know what you mean.
Yeah,
it's been reused enough, and kind of that image, that kind of silhouetted.
Yeah, and you just see her, and then she'd scare you, and you'd be like, like frozen, crazy face.
But again, another movie, like the real horror is like what you do with the tape.
You have to show it to other people.
Show it to other people. The people who are like the only way you get to see Samara is if someone shows you the tape. And Samara, right, is the product of great abuse.
That's right. Okay, that's fair. That's a good point.
Anyways,
the villain is the human race.
People. Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, it's multiple different people too. Yeah. But like I was saying to Taylor, like, what do you think of like these prequels and requels and reboots these days now in the horror film genres?
Oh,
like what's your take on that?
Listen, I understand the business of making movies and getting people to come out to see movies, and so I get it. Like I'm not against the business trying to be commercial and create a big event that they can market and get people to come to the theaters, and it's less risky if you have a known entity, right? Like whatever you want to do. If like Final Destination has a new one, and I heard that's a great movie, right? And it's easy to market that. It's easy to get people to come to it. So I totally get it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's overdone. The last Evil Dead Rise, I thought that was pretty good. I mean, it's
I loved it.
Yeah, it's not Evil Dead 2. That's its own thing, and not Army of Darkness. But like, I thought it was a great movie. So I had no problem with it.
Even the reboot of Evil Dead was really good too.
Yeah,
Very
like
similar.
it's all if you
It
do it
was
well,
sort of like,
you know.
yeah, exactly right. I hated it at first because I'm like, why would you want to do it? But I still bought it on Blu-ray anyway. But I got like I was saying to Taylor as well. Like the more times I've watched a movie that I sort of dislike, I think it's like the more I enjoy it more. Like I understand it more.
I think that's true.
That's fair.
Good.
I agree.
There are definitely a lot of movies the first time we come in with a lot of expectations, especially with those types of movies that are prequels or reboots, or you come in with expectations, and the first time you see it, it's easy to not live up to expectations.
Yeah.
And then maybe you put your expectations away, watch it again, and go, oh, actually, for what it is, it can be a really good experience.
That's always me whenever I watch a movie after I've read the book first. I hate it, and then I give it a couple of years and I watch the movie again. I'm like, oh, this movie is actually good. Okay, just needed to not read the book first.
I really liked the movie. If we're talking about just movies, I always talk about this when I can to people. It's the movie Evil Lurks, which is
Did I see that?
I think
it's that's a foreign horror film. Yeah.
Oh, the one we watched in the theaters.
Yeah, such a good movie.
Yeah, we liked that.
Was like one of the most talked about horror films of that year that came out.
That's right.
And it's like a zombie movie, right? But like a new take on a zombie movie.
Where Evil Lurks.
Where Evil Lurks.
That's it.
Such a great movie. I thought that was just brilliant. It's a brilliant.
I've seen one. I think I've seen. I haven't seen it, but like I've seen clips on YouTube. There was like a scene where the dog just like snatched the kid. I was like,
oh man,
wow.
Oh yeah.
That's
right.
You got to see it. If you haven't seen it, it's awesome. It's really.
It's on Shudder.
It's fun and it's action packed. Like it has a lot of action.
It starts and just keeps going. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's creepy. It's creepy.
It's
hard to make scary movies now, I think. Anyways, I think we know all the tropes. We know what to expect. We know when there's a person who's standing in front of a dark shadowed door. We know we're supposed to look at the door and wait for the guy to come out.
Yeah.
So it's hard to make movies that are actually scary without like just being redundant. So I appreciate weird takes on it. Like Ari Aster,
like what I was saying about the Evil Dead reboot. I kind of feel like he combined 1 and 2 together and just made it as like one big Evil Dead movie, which is pretty cool. But I've also heard, and I think it was in the behind the scenes bonus feature in that movie, he was saying that he didn't want to do like another male version of Ash, so he did like a complete opposite and did a female version of it. And it worked out well.
Yeah, and I think that was a great move, right? It's just a different take on it. You can use the concept, but add something new to it.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Improve upon it, or give us something we haven't seen before. I think it's. So I'm totally fine with reusing IP. A lot of times it sucks, but sometimes it's great.
Yeah, you just got to keep it fresh. Got to keep it moving, not feel tired and recycled, but new. Like, I think that's the way to keep our attention and keep it going, and probably keep it profitable down the line.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Have you seen?
People want to see.
Have you seen the new Final Destination?
I'm planning on going to see it today or something.
Okay.
I've heard good things about it though.
Yes, same. We haven't seen it yet. He just saw the first one last week.
Yeah,
for the first time, right before we went on a plane.
I was well aware of
man.
I knew the conceit and like how it was supposed to. I kind of knew what was happening. But yeah, it was really fun, and I watched the second one too, and it was fun too.
Yeah, now he understands why. Anytime I get behind a log truck, finally he understands why I'm like, nope.
Yeah. That still freaks me out every time I see that shit happens on the streets.
Seriously, it does.
But like another reboot that I sort of hated at first, but appreciated now was Friday the 13th. Though I thought the Friday the 13th reboot was good.
I didn't see it.
I haven't seen it.
Derek Mears
Yeah.
that played Jason in that movie was really good, and I felt like with that reboot too, they blended in a little bit of number one, and then put two together, and then just make it as again one big movie. Like I was saying to Taylor, because I had Ari Lehman from Friday the 13th on my podcast
Do you know who
a
that
while
was? I
ago,
don't
and
know. This dude.
the guy that played Jason in the lake for like 2 scenes.
This guy.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we were talking
Such
about
a
that,
rad mustache.
and
That's the best. That is just the best. He owns that mustache, man.
Hell yeah, he has a band called Jason First, and it's just about like just Jason, like all the song titles and the lyrics just about Jason, because he's the first Jason.
Yeah,
and they can just keep making those movies. People, in 10
People
years,
will
they
watch.
just keep making Friday the 13th movies, and people will just keep going. And I think that's great.
Yeah,
if it keeps the theaters open, and let's do it.
I just like hearing his stories about it too, even though he only had like a small role in that movie. But like he was just like telling me stories about like how like Kevin Bacon's scene when he's in the bed with the blood was coming out of his neck when he got stabbed through the through the bed through his neck.
Yeah, like through the, like a harpoon or something, like a spear, whatever it comes up through him. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently that how the blood was coming out wasn't meant to go that quickly. So the guy that was underneath blowing the blood through the neck.
What?
Apparently, what had happened when he was blowing the blood out, it kept coming back into his fucking throat. So he was choking on it. So he's just like fucking just
coughing it up and stuff.
coughing it out. And on camera, it just looks really, really, really good. And then
like he hit an artery.
Yeah. And then he said, "It goes, can we do that again? Because that's not what I wanted to do." And I was like, "No, it looked good on camera. Let's keep it." So if you see that scene with the arrow or whatever it was for the guy through Kevin Bacon's throat, and it was all spitting out, it was that incident.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Need to rewatch those movies for sure.
Yeah. There was another scene too where that scene in that movie when he was drowning, his foot was in the water, like it was popping up in the water. That wasn't meant to happen, but they kept that in. She's like those little.
See, it's always those happy
like,
accidents. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like those are like on-set magic moments because they only happen accidentally, but they always, not always, but a lot of times they work out perfectly.
Yeah. Well, filmmaking has a lot of things happen you can't control. And so you just have to roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's a lot like being in a band, right? When you're just jamming and sometimes you're not thinking about it and then just you create those magic moments with everybody. I feel like it's the same exact thing that happens on set. Like just magic happens and then you can only hope for those happy accidents.
Another great villain is one of my favorite horror movies is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. And so again, the villain is in some ways obscured by what people do, and the people who are essentially hosts to the villain, the monster who's hiding in them, and then how everyone gets so paranoid and treats each other in that movie is very much as much the movie is as much the horror or the tension that then the actual monster itself. But the monster in that one, John Carpenter's thing, is amazing. The special effects are just awesome.
Yeah. I kind of feel like now these days when they do like these horror movies, they go way too over with CGI now.
Yeah, sometimes they do, right? That's a good reason. One of the reasons I like The Evil Dead Rises is that movie was, I think, primarily practical effects, which I heard some interview with the director, and they really wanted to stay true to that vision, the Sam Raimi approach of having real practical effects and special effects and makeup and props and masks and things and prosthetics. And it really shows. It really looks looks great. For sure.
That scene when she bite that guy's eyeball off and you hear that crunch.
Oh yeah.
I Apparently, that was Bruce Campbell biting into an apple that made that sound.
That sounds about
Crazy, right? That sounds so like cheesy and cheap, but like, dude, if it works, right? Like,
Hell
it's
yeah.
crazy as hell. Awesome. Well, Taylor, thank you for coming on and hanging out for nearly 2 hours, man. I could talk to you guys about
Yeah.
horror movies all day for hours and hours and hours. And nice to meet you too, bro.
Yeah,
Thanks
nice
for,
to
like,
meet you, Adam. Glad I
dropping in
snuck
for a
in.
bit.
Yeah, I started printing
Slid in the last
Yeah.
minute.
instead of sliding
you
into your
still got-
DMs, slid into my printer.
We're
Yeah.
super proud of this film, though. Super proud of the
Hell yeah.
movie and the response, and excited that people are interested.
Yeah, thanks for watching it. I appreciate it. Again, I know it's not
Mm.
like it's not full gore, so I think some people aren't going to be into it. But if you appreciate a slow psychological horror,
Yep.
Yeah.
you might appreciate The Baby when it comes out in a year.
Yeah. And who knows, there might be a feature-length film too. Who knows?
Never know.
In
That's
the
right.
future. But
right,
so
thanks,
are you
Adam.
still doing anytime? Are you guys still doing like mini film festivals for that movie, or is that finished now? Have you got any more coming up?
Yeah, we're waiting to hear back from like 70 more film festivals. So
Oh,
I had to
wow.
learn all of
So
this.
that'll keep you busy for a whole year.
Yeah, so apparently a film festival run is about 2 years. To like cycle through kind of all the festivals. You kind of try to strategically place them where you get the best premiere first. Lots of festivals want premiere status. But so we started in October. So we're probably going until like March of next year. So about a year and a
Yeah.
half. And then our festival run will be done. Most of the festivals kind of happen in the fall, so that's when we're gonna get like about 50 of those 70 film festivals that we're waiting for. We'll get notified by then. But that's what's happening with The Baby. And then after that, then we'll put it online.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So after all that's finished, are you going to be doing any more movies after that? Any more short film movies?
Yeah, we're working on a short film together right now. Working title is Squawk Box. Won't say anything more, but my goal with this film was I wanted to actually do special effects and have some gore scenes.
The new one, yeah.
Yeah. So just since The Baby was more suggestive, now I want to get hands deep into some practical special effects because that seems like fun. It also seems like a challenge. And I just love the genre, so much that I want to give a little bit more this time to like what people go to see horror movies for. So that's what we're working on. I've been working on a feature film script that's a psychological horror thriller. And that's hard as fuck. And I've been working on it for 2 years. So I'm probably gonna keep working on that for a while. But that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a few other things we're working on. So for sure, the next year over the next 2 years, there'll be at least one more short, and hopefully one of these will be a feature that we'll make. We've got a few of them we're trying to like get off the ground. It all starts with the story. So
Yeah.
trying to get that right first before we do anything else.
Squawk.
Yeah.
That's for Squawk Box.
Well, like what I said to Taylor as well, like after watching The Baby, I know it only went for like maybe like 15 minutes or so, but like there's so much a lot in that 15 minutes. That's happened, that shitty kid.
Yeah.
The ending.
It's a challenge to use that 15-minute chunk to like tell a story, to build a character, to not overdo it, try to tell too much, get too many details in. It's a challenge. I have a lot of respect for the short film like process and art form. It's not easy. So I think we're proud of what we did. I think it seems to keep people's attention, and that is half the battle. Most people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the problem. That's the issue with horror movies now. Like it starts off with like maybe a really good storyline, and then halfway through that kind of just loses direction a little bit until you get to the ending. You're like, what the hell did I just watch? Because like it kind of made sense. It sort of made sense for the first maybe like 25 to 30 minutes, and then the last hour or so, it's just like it just had no direction.
Right.
Where
Exactly.
it went. And I bet like to write a good script is very hard.
Oh yeah, we're trying to write a good one, and it's definitely hard because you have to be really thoughtful.
Well,
and I mad respect to the people who do this for a living and like know kind of how to weave all these stories together in a meaningful way that keeps people engaged, especially with our shrinking attention spans. So yeah, it's definitely a feat, man.
Yeah. Well,
and to do it well.
Well, keep up the hard work, guys. I'll
Cool,
support
thanks,
you guys
Adam.
all the way with any feature films that you got to be doing and stuff like that. And if there's anything
Cool.
new
Appreciate
coming
that.
up with the horror genre, man, just send them through and I'll share it and stuff like that.
All right, cool. Thanks so much. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Adam.
that.
All right.
That's awesome.
Sweet. So they can
right,
follow
cool.
you on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that.
Yeah, at the baby_film is where you can find us on Instagram. That's basically where we're the most active right now. And then we'll post up all the updates of like when the film's available and other public viewings, as we hit the different cities on the festival. We'll update it there too.
Sweet as.
Yeah.
Too easy, man. Well, thank you for coming on. This was fun.
Thank you.
Almost 2 hours.
Yes, it was very fun.
Talking horror. It was awesome. Well,
thank you, Adam.
Yeah. No worries. We'll have to keep in touch as always.
Yeah,
so
100%.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll let you know when this is up. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
let us know how the Final Destination is if you go see it today.
Oh yeah.
I will. I'll probably be traumatized, man. Let's hit that outro button. Let's hit this outro.